What inspired you to write the story for Rebroken, and also why did you decide to work with another writer?
Um, what inspired me was really the inspiration. I had my first daughter recently when I sat down to write it. I'm always writing out little scripts and stories and things. And when I started to write this one about a dad going through the loss of his daughter, it really struck a chord with me because I just had this beautiful girl brought into my life and couldn't imagine being without her. So, and then just to turn that into a thriller type of fun, suspenseful movie, that was kind of the gist of it. And I would say I'm an actor first that likes to create his own content and comes up with stories and ideas for scripts and movies. And then my good friend and producing partner Kip Tribble is a really talented writer who's had scripts optioned and stuff like that. So I kicked it over to him to see if we could turn my story into a working screenplay, and that's how it kind of came about.
Were there any scenes in Rebroken that you found particularly challenging to film?
Yeah, there's that old cliche that it's tougher to not say anything on camera than it is to have a lot of lines. And there were so many scenes for my character Will where it's a lot of reactions or it's a lot of muted performances where you just have to show things what you're feeling through your eyes or the way you walk or the way you move. So I felt that was much more challenging than having a ton of really stylized dialogue. And also some of the scenes, like I said, I had just had a daughter myself, so some of these scenes where it's dealing with the loss of a daughter that a dad is feeling, sometimes were tough for me. Sometimes I got a little overly emotional, and the director Kenny Yates would say that we have to pull it back a little bit, and I go, I'm sorry, it's really striking a chord with me. So, but overall, it was challenging, but I loved every minute of it.
Did you enjoy working with horror film legend Tobin Bell?
Oh my gosh, yes. I was so excited when we got Tobin Bell to come on board. It was such a thrill for me, and to be able to do scenes with him because I've seen him in so many movies. And most people love him from his horror movies. I love him from so many other things. I loved him in The Line of Fire, The Firm, Mississippi Burning, even his episode of Seinfeld. So he's a tremendous actor, and we were so grateful to have him in the film.
Do you plan to write more thrillers?
Oh yes, yes. Like I was saying, I have yes, yes, yes. I have this thing. The way I do it is I start writing stories down, ideas that I like in like a little comp book. I'm old school. I don't do it on the phone or the computer. I write it in a little comp book or notebook, and they're all over my house. And some of them are good, and some of them are not so good. But when I go back to them a lot is when I really get excited that they could be good. Like I kept going back to Rebroken. And then there's a couple of them that I really like that I would love to get made into films into the future. Some of them I feel merit a bigger budget, so I'm kind of saving them. And some of them need to be fleshed out a little more, but absolutely, I love it, and I love this genre of film.
Do you enjoy writing productions, and why or why not?
I do, and it's kind of new for me, so it's like it's really exciting in that way because I started in this business years ago as just an actor and was doing the whole process of you audition and then you hopefully go to producers and then you hopefully book the roles, and I did that for a long time, and it's great, and I've had some successful times doing it, but this whole new generation of making your own content and being able to make your own films without studio backing is much easier now. And so it's really inspired me to do it yourself. And so as far as writing, like I always thought it was above my pay grade, but my writer friends are really helping me, and I seem to be getting better. So I'm still learning. So I think that's why it's so exciting to me. So I definitely want to keep doing it. I think it's very, very hard because, like I said, I'm an actor first, not a writer. So sometimes it's very, very hard for me to keep the structure and do the time that it takes to make a good story. But I like it, and I'm excited to do more.
What do you like about acting?
Oh, for me, oh gosh. I mean, I grew up loving movies, um, loving characters, and loving watching good performances. So I always, as a kid, thought I want to do that someday. And once I started doing it and took my first acting class and did my first play, I was hooked because I love the thought of becoming someone else or being a character that's so different from yourself, but maybe you have a little bit of that person in you, but you don't get to act it out in the real world. But on film and TV and on stage, you get to play these tremendous characters and get to escape into these different worlds. And I love it. I just love storytelling, and I love the movies, and I love TV. So to be a part of it, yes, I'm so grateful.
What has been your favorite film role to play?
Oh, that's tough. That's that's like asking who's your favorite child. There's so many that I like. I mean, I'm not gonna. I really have liked, as far as film, not any of the television stuff I've done. Film, boy, I really liked getting to play this character just because it was so close to me. Another fun character I got to play was this. It was kind of like a purge movie. It was a really little micro budget film, but it was called Evil at the Door. And what I liked about it is that I got to be just really bad, and I had a beard and I had a man bun, and I got to walk around in leather and just be someone completely opposite of myself. I have to say I had an awful good time playing that. So I don't know, maybe because it's so recent, I'll say Will from Rebroken right now, but I don't know, talk to me in a year, it might change. I'm fickle.
If you could play any role from past TV show and movies, what role would you have liked to play?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's a great question. Um, man, I'm going to go with my original Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones from the Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think that movie and Harrison Ford playing Indiana Jones really set me on this path because it used to play. We had a little theater next to my house where I grew up in Fullerton, and they played double features. And Raiders of the Lost Ark was the movie that, when it was so popular, it never changed. They would just add a different second movie, and I would always go every week. I must have seen it 20 times in the theater alone and was just amazed by it. Thought he was the coolest thing ever. So yeah, Indiana Jones.
You appeared on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Are you a fan of the franchise?
What's so funny is, like, that old stigma of like, are you an Elvis guy, or are you a Beatles guy? Are you a Star Trek guy? Or are you a Star Wars guy? I was always a Star Wars guy. Again, Harrison Ford. I loved Han Solo, and I was a huge Star Wars guy. I had all the figures, had all the stuff. But always, I just like that genre. So I did like Star Trek, and then I became more of a fan once I was on the show. I can't lie and say I was a super fan, but I can tell you the fans are fantastic. I had just a small part on that Deep Space Nine episode. I had originally auditioned for the captain. It came down to me and one other guy. They went with the other guy, but then they offered me this other smaller part on the episode, and I was so happy to get it and to get to be in the uniform and be on the ship, and I thought it was great. So I definitely know more about Star Trek now. I do like Deep Space Nine. I would say I'm the most familiar with the original Star Trek, and I love the new movies too. I love the new movies that they rebooted with Chris Pine. I think those are fantastic.
You had a role in General Hospital. Would you consider roles in other soaps?
Yes, I actually, there's so many things to like about the soap opera world. I did the first one I ever did was a short-lived soap opera called Passions. It was on NBC. And then I've done 2 stints on General Hospital spread out throughout the years. I played Frank Roush many years ago. I was on it for a couple of weeks, played a bad guy named Frank Roush. And that was the first time I was really there like every day for a long period of time and really got to see how soap operas work. And those people work so hard and have to memorize so much dialogue. I think they don't get the credit they deserve because they're churning out one episode a day for 5 days a week. When these other shows, you get 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to turn out a 1 hour show for episode because they got to do 22 episodes in a season. Soap operas, man, 365, 5 days a week. So you're cranking. So if you like to move, I do like getting to move fast. I would do a soap opera again. I think I don't know if I would like to be locked into it because I love making movies and doing different TV shows. That's exciting for me, being that kind of freelance guy. But yeah, I do. And I love my little General Hospital family because, as I said, I've been back twice and I'll go back to General Hospital anytime they ask me. It's great.
Where can people follow you and your work?
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I am on social media. I'm not like a super duper like influencer or poster or like I'm not a nonstop guy, but I am, I'm like a hobbyist social media guy and I'm really interactive. And I just like being on there. One day I might share stuff about my kids and the next day I might share something cool about a movie or a TV show I'm doing. And I love to see what everybody else is doing. So I like to follow back too. I'm on Instagram, Scott Hamm 8. And on Facebook, I'm just regular. You can find me Scott Hamm or Scott Hamm Duenas on either one. If you put in Scott Hamm or Scott Hamm Duenas, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I would say those are the 2 places I am the most.